Recording.
To spank jail.
Gotta take you to spank jail.
Everybody get up. It's time to podcast.
Oh.
It's the PDT podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Spank jail.
It's a podcast. It's podcast. Podcast.
Yeah, okay. That got away from us.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Did you have one better one?
Mm-mm.
Can you try it again? Let's see if we can get a better take real quick.
Everybody.
Everybody get up, it's time to
podcast.
Gonna throw this podcast into overtime. Welcome to the
Time to chat and to talk. It's the podcast. All right.
Okay.
So someone keeps...
Everybody get up. It's time to grandma. Welcome back to PDT Podcast.
Welcome. A podcast on the internet where we talk about Space Jam for 12 minutes and delete all the other content.
Yeah, we did.
Another episode of the PDT podcast.
Where we mumble through the beginning and kind of
talk about
It's not the important part. The beginning is not the important part.
I'm alright.
The beginning.
I threw out my back with that one.
I'm walking sideways with that one.
You barfed up a lot.
Okay.
Alright, let's talk about some good stuff today, everybody.
We have a few topics on the docket. We have We have a special sports segment that we've pre-recorded thanks to Austin, our sports correspondent. We wanted to catch him on Monday during the Chiefs game. It was right before he went into the Chiefs game. We had a very important question.
To ask him. And here it is. Wait, did you want to?
No, I figured we'd get to it.
And here it is right now.
In the middle of the intro.
Oh, we're still in the intro. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Right now.
After that, we have some other topics. We're going to talk about aliens a little bit today. We're going to talk about sleep paralysis. And do we have something else on the docket?
Not that I can...
I imagine the alien conversation will take us many directions.
Yeah, probably so.
Should we start with aliens? Should we start with sport?
Well, I already jumped the gun on sports, so let's just go ahead and follow through on that.
Yeah, let's go to sports.
Everybody count down from 3, 2 to 1. 3, 2, 1, go!
Space Jam!
Why am I always calling Austin a baby?
Number 1 on iTunes.
Does he look like...
Hello. Hey, you're on the PDT podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Pretty
great,
good.
man. I hope we're not catching you at a bad time.
No, I was just cleaning up tailgate. We're getting ready to walk in the stadium.
So you're trashed right now.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I see.
yet.
Okay, well, prove it with your answer to this next question.
Well, first prove it by touching your nose with your finger.
Yeah, but also ask.
Yeah, we have a question for you. It is Monday night, and there is Monday Night Football, but this question's not related to that at all. As you know,
It's the bigger news story.
You've probably gotten this question multiple times today, but as you know, the WNBA finals have been going on. And
I'm sorry, it's loud in this parking lot. Can you try to repeat your question?
okay, so we know you've probably gotten this question like 12 times today, but as you know, the WNBA finals have been going on, and last night, the Minnesota Lynx lit up the Los Angeles Sparks, and Sylvia Fowles put up 22 points and 14 rebounds to force a Game 5. So,
Wow.
how do you see Game 5 going down in a winner-take-all, and who's winning the championship?
So that was sports. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah, thanks, Austin. We always
Appreciate
treasure your
input.
your opinions, your input. We need a sports correspondent. It's possible we'll have other correspondents in the future. Talk about other topics, movies, Chick-fil-A, kombucha, whatever comes up.
We should have a Chick-fil-A kombucha movies trio of podcasts.
Yeah,
that's where none of us show up, but we bring on 3 guests.
We just bring on Jason, Tom, and
Reagan.
we just hit record and then we leave.
Then 3 of us leave, and
take
we
a
give
night
them no alcohol.
Oh, what we should do is we should all do like a group chat call. No. I'll call Jason, Andrew calls Tom, you call Reagan, and we just set the phones in the middle of the table.
And say nothing.
We just go downstairs and play video games.
How about we do that this episode just to end it?
That sounds amazing.
Don't say anything to them, just call them and set the phones down.
Actually, we
and watch
should
us just
really
Tom
try
picks
that.
up.
Yeah, I mean, that's
We'll see how that goes. But
so if you're interested in that, stick around till the end of the episode.
Yeah, we're gonna
Don't skip ahead. We'll know.
we'll experiment.
Jesus will know as well.
That's true.
Don't cheat.
Jesus, don't you skip ahead either.
Okay, my son.
Okay, my son.
I'll watch the whole thing.
I've been
Only
watching.
because you asked me to. Why is he a ghost?
I gave like a gentle okay, my son.
Oh, I
And
was
you were like,
imagining
okay, my son.
as you wish, my child.
As you wish.
All right. So speaking of ghosts, let's talk about aliens.
Yeah.
Directly related.
Directly related.
I saw a study. We were going to talk about this a little while ago, a few weeks ago, I think. At least I saw something that I wanted to talk about. And someone said I saw a study that was done that said that people who have alien abduction experiences have always previously had, well, not always, 90% of the time have previously had sleep paralysis in the capacity of being under the influence of anesthetic.
Oh, interesting.
Or being put under, but they wake up and they can't feel anything and they can't move, but they just have the sensory of being awake.
But this is, just to be clear, this is specifically sleep paralysis, in the case of anesthesia.
Surgical sleep paralysis.
That's horrifying. Okay.
Yeah, because and the reasoning is that if you're in the middle of being cut open and pulled apart, and there's a light shining on you, and you have a bunch of people in white standing around you.
You can't really see exactly who they are or what they are.
And then you have a dream later about being abducted by aliens and being operated on by mysterious figures with a bright light shining on you. It's pretty much the idea. And I find
Mystery
that very
solved,
interesting.
folks.
Yeah.
All right.
Aliens are doctors.
Aliens are doctors. Cheers.
Cheers. Here's to... We can talk about sleep paralysis, or we can talk about aliens.
I
Not both.
would be interested in talking about both.
Okay, well I mean,
how
we're
about-
gonna talk
No,
about
that's
both.
fine.
What are we going to
That's
talk about first?
I think that sleep paralysis has less avenues to go down.
That is true.
So I was going to say that first, probably. So I actually have struggled with sleep paralysis in my life before. I haven't had it in probably... Well, okay, a little bit of background. What is sleep paralysis? Funny you should ask. Sleep paralysis
Did you?
is when... It was Jesus. He told me. He was like, what is sleep paralysis?
What is sleep paralysis?
He's like, Jesus, you don't know this? Really? I thought you made this.
I'm a ghost.
I'm a ghost, not God.
Ghosts don't know what sleep paralysis.
Ghosts don't know shit.
Goes to hell, man.
So anyway, sleep paralysis is when your mind kind of wakes up back into consciousness mostly, but your body is still paralyzed. That's where the paralysis comes from.
You are physically asleep, mentally awake.
Yeah. Or partially mentally awake. And you can sometimes, you can generally open up your eyes and see the things around you in your room. But because you're in this really, really crazy state where your body's asleep and your brain is awake and you're kind of dreaming still, you'll oftentimes hallucinate horrible, terrible, scary things. And what's interesting about that is that a lot of people have sort of shared, or there are these common hallucinations. A lot of people will have visions of little tiny black creatures trying to burrow into their body.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's scary. a lot of people will see like a shadowy figure in the corner of the room that slowly gets like closer to them or whatever. Eyes. And eyes. Yeah. But it's horrifying. And for a while there, I haven't had it in a couple years, but like I had it really, really frequently. And I had it mostly when I was like taking a nap during the day. And I'm sure that just has to do with something like how my sleep cycle ended up, because I was sleeping in the middle of the day. But the scariest one I ever had, the two scariest ones I ever had, was I was sleeping on my side, woke up partially, opened my eyes, and at the time I had this like black comforter that usually was used as a blanket. But in this case, it was hot in the summer, and so it was like piled on the bottom of my bed. And so I looked down, and there's my comforter, and oh no, it's morphing into this giant black demon pig. That's bad. The world pig? Yeah, the world pig, if you will.
T-shirt on somewhere.
Someday.
On somewhere someday. And so this demon world pig got really close to my face and then swallowed me. And
sounds like it was the world pig.
Yeah, sounds like the world pig. And I was floating in space for a second before I completely came to.
That's 1,000% the world pig.
Yeah, that was definitely the world pig.
You had your first
encounter of
a
world pig kind.
Another really scary one that I had, and this one was a little bit unconventional because I didn't actually see anything. Of course, I think so I had sleep paralysis so much that like I kind of got to the point where I could like recognize what was happening and sort of keep myself mostly calm. I'd still be scared that something creepy was gonna pop up, but like I would like close my eyes again and say Jesus. I would close my eyes again most times and like just wait for it to pass. But this time I was again sleeping on my side, and I opened my eyes, realized I couldn't move, and I was like, okay, oh crap, this is bad. And so I closed my eyes and just like tried to calm myself, and I heard this breathing behind me, and I felt something crawl onto the bed behind me. Like I was feeling like the cushions go kind of underneath me or whatever. And Torrance giving me the sexy eyebrows, and this was not sexy. This was very scary.
The world pig again.
The world pig again.
It wasn't the springs you heard go creaky. It was just. That's what it sounds like when you squish a pig.
Yeah, he's like, we saw.
Mystery.
Gaw. Yeah. Okay, all these things are people don't understand what's going on, and that's fine. Yeah. So anyway, the thing crawled onto onto the bed right behind me, and then I felt this fist grab a handful of the shirt I was wearing. Ooh. And it like pulled it taut against my chest, like it was pulling it backwards. And then it sort of started like beating me on the back, like at first very methodically and slowly, like boom, boom, boom. But it kept speeding up and getting more violent. Yeah, oh man, this is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I do. I sit on back. I pound your back. But it kept getting like harder and harder and faster till it was like boom, 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 boom. And it was freaking me out so bad. And then I woke up and everything was fine.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, sleep paralysis is scary. Yeah, a lot of people, this is a good segue into aliens. A lot of people will like think that, well, I don't know. I've done a little bit of research into it myself. And in that time, yeah.
It's pretty common.
Yeah. But like there's this sort of like subculture of people that's like learned how to, or is trying to like come up with a solid way to like explain how to get into lucid dreaming. Mm-hmm. And it's really common with those people who are like trying to induce lucidity in their dreams. They'll fall into sleep paralysis. Like that's one of the things on the Reddit page. It's like, okay, if you're gonna do this, like you gotta understand you're probably gonna have some bouts of sleep paralysis and stuff. And that's horrifying to me. Like
it comes from changing your REM, your sleep cycle, just like drastically, because that comes with it. Because even when you don't intend to, you're switching your rapid eye movement sleep, which is like the deep sleep, and that's when you usually dream. And so it's sort of putting it, and that's when you're like in deep sleep. And so basically when you're trying to attempt lucid dreaming, you are still getting rapid eye movement.
You're like offsetting
at
it
a higher level.
Yeah.
And so like your brain function is higher, at least in theory. And so it's not getting to the same spot.
Yeah.
It's basically your brain wants to, oh, I'm going into rapid eye movement sleep. This is a deep level of sleep. My brain function is going lower. But instead they're saying, no, I'm going to rapid eye movement sleep and my brain function is going to remain the same.
Right.
So your brain is like, ah!
Have you ever needed a light snack, but there's absolutely nothing in the house? Well, try the new product from But Food, 5 nuts. You pay for 6 nuts and we'll send you 5, and then donate 1 nut to a random homeless guy. They live on the streets and we'll donate 1 nut to them. The nuts come in a plastic bag made of biohazardous material and is roughly 3 by 5. It will probably hold almost all 5 nuts. Call now and pay a low monthly payment and we'll send you your nuts. Or just head on over to nuts.com and get your order now. You need a snack? Why don't you put dang 5 nuts in your body?
Oh! There's some interesting stuff about, like, I've kind of looked into, like, sleep paralysis. I haven't done a ton of research on this, but, like, sleep paralysis as, like, a spiritual attack, sort of. Sure. Which I was I thought to do just because there were so many shared dreams where there were like little black creatures trying to burrow into it. Like the fact that there were a lot of shared visions or whatever was really interesting to me, and made me think there was maybe that level to it. Which I don't know.
Do you remember that story of the guy who came to the summer Bible study?
Yeah.
He talked a little bit about, if I remember correctly, he talked a little bit about sleep paralysis and people having dreams and stuff that were very clearly demonic.
Yeah.
Like sets of eyes just watching them over. I think his daughter mentioned a story where he woke up in the middle of the night and there was a very large set of red eyes just at the foot of his bed, just like leering down at him, like for an hour.
That's really scary.
And he tried to sleep because he was like, because this guy, if you remember that episode,
was it like episode 5 or something?
It was very early on. But if you remember that episode, he talked about how he dealt with it so much that it became somewhat like normal for him. And so, like, my response to seeing a big glowing set of red eyes would be pants-shitting terror.
Yeah, I would just poop in my bed.
Right.
Instantly.
Right.
I would just have to sit there right there.
Yeah, I just have to
like a baby.
Right. But this guy was like, nah, this is no big deal, because, like,
sometimes demons just find their way to the foot of the bed.
I exercise demons all the time. Like, he has no power.
I'm pretty
here.
high on demons shit lists, so I've dealt with this before.
Right. And so he was like, I was like trying to sleep again, but he like couldn't sleep, and he basically just kept checking back. And it
the
was
way
there
humans
for
like have trouble falling asleep when
there's a giant
watching them
red
sleep.
Set of eyes watching them.
Regardless of the color of them, if there's eyes watching me, period, I'm not gonna be able to. Even if it's one of you guys, I'm not falling asleep.
Yeah.
I trust you guys, but I'm not falling asleep.
I would actually. You have been sleeping all the times that I've watched you sleep.
You would think so. There's a reason I am always tired. I can't sleep.
Oh.
Maybe find your own room.
Don't you feel foolish?
No, I feel really smart.
But yeah.
Aliens. So yeah, okay. Here's the segue that I was going for. Like, there's a conversation to be had about some sleep paralysis being like spiritual in nature or whatever, I think. And so I've read a part of a book, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the book. And I know it's a pretty... it's the Da Vinci Code. Watch out, Jesus.
Was it Mere Christianity?
Watch out, checkmate Christians, Da Vinci Code. But it was... oh my God.
Mere Christianity?
No, it wasn't Mere Christianity. Checkmate Atheists on that one.
Aliens and Demons.
Actually, I think that was it.
Checkmate, C.S. Lewis.
Checkmate.
Does it have like the Illuminati eye on the front cover?
No.
The Da Vinci Code?
But that's very exciting.
Yeah. But this book, and I don't think it's not a unique viewpoint. My mom was just talking to me about this guy at their Bible study that like, he's kind of into conspiracy theories, but he also like, I don't know much about him, but she was like, oh yeah, this guy, has a theory that aliens are actually demons or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, I've heard that. I've read part of a book about that. I didn't actually finish the book because a lot of it seemed like conspiracy theory mumbo jumbo to me, but like, that's just an interesting angle on it. And that's specifically, like when talking about aliens, I think there's, like, I split it up into two separate, like, camps. The camp that's like, okay, aliens are here, they're interacting with us, we're seeing UFOs flying around or whatever, and there might be something to that, I don't actually know. And then there's the other side that's like, okay, well, just like from a pure mathematical, like statistical standpoint of the other billions and billions of other galaxies out there, like chances are pretty good that there's another like form of sentient life out there. But yeah, this guy was talking about the here and now, like aliens taking people away.
I'm usually in the latter camp.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Like, throw a dart at the universe, you're probably gonna eventually hit another form of sentient life.
Yeah.
But is it here and now? Like,
because theoretically, like, people have tried to figure out, like, let's say it's a different kind of life form. Mm-hmm. And in movies, it's always presented as like these aliens have advanced technology so much faster,
right?
But it's still like this is the start point of the universe, and somehow in the same amount of time they've tripled their like they're way more advanced than we are, and it's like, okay, why are they more advanced? And since that doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind, it's like assuming they followed the same evolutionary pattern as we did,
right?
It's not, there isn't going to be a whole lot of like huge advancement, because this is way beyond anywhere we are.
Yeah.
Because right now we have, like, we're saying, could we land on Mars? And there's people being like, I don't know, could we land on Mars?
I don't know, could we?
It's like they're
really angry about
they're doing all these equations and like doing simulations, and there's like all these problems that they have to overcome. And this is going from one corner of I have a desktop on my computer of basically panning out from Earth, and it's Earth, then our solar system, then the Milky Way, then like the cluster of galaxies, then this quadrant
or whatever
of the universe, then this is like the bigger section that we exist in, and then this is like the known universe, and it's like,
and then it zooms back one further, and it's white Jesus with the universe in his hands, and it says, "Don't masturbate."
But so unless it's fairly close, which I think is pretty unlikely,
totally.
Then it's going to be very, very distant, and going very, very far in spacecraft is unbelievably unlikely for us right now.
Yeah.
Right. Because it has with the advancements in technology that would need to to happen are immense and
impractical.
And impractical.
I think there's one thing, one variable that could account for like alien life in the like whatever percentage of the universe,
Sure.
Like, I think that on Earth here we know of a couple major setbacks that like life has had. Like somehow there was a catastrophe that wiped out big dang dinos.
Right.
And then there were some ice ages that we know about. And
sure.
But other than that, those are the only like sort of setbacks to life that we know of, at least that I know of.
But even then, it would take, because it was the idea that dinosaurs would have the evolutionary capacity to get to a human-like, like an elevated level of intelligence.
But that's assuming that like that life progressed in the same way on this other planet.
Sure, and that's it's possible that they have evolved completely differently. Yeah,
and this is all just hypothetical. Like I have no idea.
No, I don't either.
But it's just an interesting thing. I think one other really interesting angle on it that I was just talking to my mom about was like, if there is other sentient life in the universe, like with a high capacity for thinking and like feeling things, like with a soul, quote, whatever, believing what I believe about the universe and God, like they are probably going to be accounted for in some way in that. And like, what do they have a book that like says, oh, there's this guy on this other planet that died for all of the universe, or is it like a completely separate story,
like a different Jesus
with a different Jesus type figure or whatever?
Same Jesus, different body.
Right. Same Jesus, different body. And it's like those things
my favorite book by Joel Osteen.
Ours is a ghost, and
there's
a Sasquatch.
There's a Sasquatch.
There's
an alien.
Squatch Jesus.
Yeah. And all of this like is just like completely inconsequential to like our story on Earth or whatever. Like whatever in this hypothetical situation where life exists elsewhere and they have like a separate redemption story or whatever, like there probably wouldn't be any reason for it to be included in our Bible, and two, there probably wouldn't be any reason for our situation to be included in their lore or whatever.
Right. I think you hit quite a few conflicts in the Old Testament. The New Testament less so, but there's still some problems because we have Jesus being like a person here. So I think it's possible that there's some other book that's saying like, this guy Jesus, really great, like oh, super good, but it wouldn't be the same. And I think the thing that I'm thinking of is, if you think of the story of Noah, that was about a flood that happened here, and there's like, if you look from a scientific standpoint, you can say there's, well, depending on who you ask, there's some evidence for like a big catastrophic flood event. And if you look at other mythologies, like there are a ton of other mythologies that have floods
that include that.
Right.
Sure.
And so saying that the legend follows true and says that this earth experienced a catastrophic global flood, I think that follows up, but that wouldn't be in a different planet. Like a different planet's Bible, because it would be like, on a distant planet called Earth, they had what they called a flood. And it's like,
and it's just in English. Like they have an English Bible.
It got thrown into space.
Super casual.
Oh man.
But I think that sort of like the Book of Mormon, except not absolute fraudulence, because the Book of Mormon is like, the lost tribes of Israel came to North America on secret boats.
And you can say, no, that's incorrect.
And then Jesus showed up and was like, hey, Native Americans, I mean lost tribes of Israel, you guys are the real OG. Black people are bad. Bye.
Bye. Right. Also Pepsi.
Also, I'm going to a different planet. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
Then he left Missouri.
Right. I think.
No, Missouri's where he's coming back.
Yeah, dude. It's a beautiful, like, it's. I think it's a slide. To me, it looks like a spiral slide that he's going to come down.
One day you're in Missouri and you see her.
You're like, oh my god.
And then trumpets blare and you're like, oh no.
And then people go like,
Erupting in flames.
Grandma leaves the Left Behind series.
My grandma's like, oh my god, where's my Left Behind series? I have to leave it out. That is like the longest running joke of this podcast.
It's great.
But it's so good.
It. Gold.
Oh man, it's funny.
But
anyway,
aliens are in their Bible, so.
Yeah, great wheels of fire, right?
It's in Ezekiel.
Okay.
Yeah, but what about the Stairway to Heaven? Couldn't that be an alien too?
No. Wait. The song?
No.
That's what I thought. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
No. But the stairway where there are angels coming up and going down. And
I think those are angels.
It's a ladder. And that's in the Old Testament, yeah.
Jacob's ladder, whatever.
Also, angels
I mean,
are angels,
just
not
Stairway to
aliens.
Heaven.
I mean, that's... Let me read Ezekiel 1.
Let's read Ezekiel together on the podcast, the whole thing.
Dude,
The entire book.
hell yeah.
Let's call Tom.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, would you read us this book?
Read us a story, Daddy.
Daddy.
Oh, Daddy. Daddy.g.
Daddy.
Remember when he said, don't call me Daddy on the podcast?
Sorry, Daddy.
I'm not sorry.
So this is Ezekiel 1, verse 4. I looked and I saw
What translation?
the NIV.
Classic.
Should I go to a
I
different
like it.
one?
No. NIV
Can
is
it be
good.
classic if it's one of the newer versions?
I mean, it's
not
classic
that
to
new.
our generation.
2011.
Well, the
6
2011
years?
NIV.
That's probably what you're reading.
1996.
So it's mine.
Shut up. Fine, I'll go to
me
the,
as credible
the
as your Bible.
translated from Latin. How about that? No,
I think it's
don't wanna
pronounced
do that.
Latin.
Whoa.
I looked and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north. You cannot call
You
them
cannot call them Latin.
Ding 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 ding. Bong.
I looked and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, their feet were like those of a calf, and gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings, on their 4 sides, they had human heads. All 4 of them had faces and wings, and the wings of one touched the wings of another. Each one went straight ahead. They did not turn as they moved. Their faces looked like this. Each of the 4 had the face of a human being, and on the right side, each had the face of a lion, and on the left side, the face of an ox. Each also had the face of an eagle.
On the back or just
back?
like on the top?
I'm assuming on the back. Such were their faces.
There are
They each
lots
had
of
2
faces.
wings spreading out upward, each wing touching that of the creature on either side, and each had two other wings covering its body. So 2 out, 2 covering.
Covering their nudity.
Each one went straight ahead. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, without turning as they went. The appearance of the living creatures was like burning coals of fire or like torches. Fire moved back and forth among the creatures. It was bright and lightning flashed out of it. The creatures sped back and forth like flashes of lightning. As I looked at the living creatures, wait for it, this is the exciting part, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went.
Sorry.
A lot of hand motions happening.
Yeah, it's
Their
great
rims,
radio.
their rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes.
Those rims were chrome and awesome.
They were high and awesome. When the living creatures moved, the wheels beside them moved, and when the living creatures rose from the ground, the wheels also rose. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, and the wheels would rise along with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When the creatures moved, they also moved. Spread out above the heads of the living creatures was what looked something like a vault, sparkling like crystal and awesome. And sick.
And that was tight, dude.
Under the vault, their wings were stretched out one
Tight,
toward
dude.
the other. Blah blah blah. Yeah, they're aliens.
That's awesome.
You're saying that means aliens exist.
So, in what's the context of this vision, real quick? Is he just like chilling in the desert?
It's
Or, like
basically Ezekiel being
Ezekiel.
inaugurated into being a prophet, essentially.
Okay, so God,
it's like the first vision he has as a prophet of God.
Got you.
And
That's
so
sick.
he's like standing in the desert.
I'm gonna be honest.
And
if that was the first
that
vision I had, I'd have been like, I think I'm good.
Can I unsubscribe?
After I saw the dude with the ox, eagle, and lion head with his spirit in a wheel and his wings covering his nudity.
Nudity?
I was good. I checked no on that box and I went home.
What forms do I have to get filled out to bail?
Right. It'd be like, thanks for the
some kind of cancellation fee.
But
willing.
I think I'm gonna have to check no on that box.
Sounds scary.
It's a no from me.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, that sounds like a lot of the sort of revelation imagery and stuff like that.
A little different, but yeah.
Pretty much anyone who says that that's aliens and flying saucers is taking it way out of context. And the context,
or just way too literally.
The context being that there are other visualizations of angels. And those are not really all that dissimilar.
Yeah.
Is that angels look crazy.
Right, angels look insane.
Right. Which is why the majority of times angels speak, they're like, whoa, 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 don't be scared.
Yeah, because they have like 10 heads.
Right. It's like, no, be cool, be cool, be cool. I'm like, I'm a good guy. Like, don't worry.
You look distinctly like a bad guy, sir.
Right. I didn't hear
you look crazy.
I did hear someone talk one time about something about angels, where it wasn't like a full-on sermon, but they just talked about them and how you can tell how humans, people where there's like different supposed races, but we're all like basically the same.
Yeah.
We have a face, 2 arms, 2 legs, like that's it.
Right.
Where they were like, angels, no, that's not what they are.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of different kinds.
Right.
And he's like, it's like birds.
Oh.
Very different. Like, he goes, no, they're like bugs.
Oh, that's even more.
Lots of different kinds.
Even worse.
Yeah.
He's like, they're not scary. They're not going to go, ooh, squish it. But, like, you're like, oh, no.
Right.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Especially since it's usually like there was a clap of thunder and a bolt of lightning, and then it appeared in the sky.
And he's like, don't be afraid. And you're like,
don't worry.
Why'd you appear like that?
Bruh, you know I'm going to be afraid.
I just spat.
It's like, what are you expecting from me?
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like, there's, like, that's like a glimpse into this, like, other plane of existence that, like, we have no concept of.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, maybe, and it's possible that, like, those visions, like, the 12 billion heads and, like, the wings and stuff are, like, it's like a dude living on 2D paper, and you see a sphere come crashing into his universe, and it's like, but it looks like this circle that goes, whoa, and he's like, what was that?
It was like, a dude with an ox head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, what if that's not actually, like, it's just a physical representation that, like, we can understand on some level.
What 2D man understands of a
right.
Like 5-dimensional world.
Well, they talk about like whenever there's a case of a like heavenly being coming to the earth, everyone's freaked out.
Yeah.
Like there's
scary.
There's a part in the Old Testament where where Moses is visited by like heavenly
3 ghosts
figures.
He freaks out at a burning bush.
Right. And he like immediately like falls prostrate and is like, anything you want.
God.
Right.
We talk about how Moses has a real rough couple of
he is
life.
Yeah.
Murders a guy and then runs away in the desert, and then he finds a bush that's burning, and he's like, dude, that's not, and then it talks to him, and he's like oh no.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So today I was reading Acts. I've been reading through the book of Acts.
Congrats.
And there's this one part where Peter, like, pretty much
George Washington.
Peter just read. Yeah. Oh, Acts. I get it. Let me.
Sorry, everyone.
Let me the Acts of the Apostles you a question.
Do you have a Kleenex so I can kill myself?
Oh, do you want to, like, shove it down your throat or what?
I want a clean axe.
Oh, I thought you said Kleenex.
Mixing the brand.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, but so there's this part in like, dude, you're freaking me. I was getting a glimpse into the fourth dimensional plane right there with that face.
Through Torrin's death.
Yeah.
One punch.
But there's this moment. I think it's the 5th or 6th book of Acts, or chapter rather. And Peter just randomly is like, "All right, y'all, let me tell you about Moses real quick." And he just like launches into the story of Moses, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's listen to this.
This is great.
Right?
Man, I'd love to back then. You could walk into time like, "Let me tell you something," and people are like,
Oh yeah. I don't have anything going on. I'm just playing with this stick.
We go on with oral history, so I really want to hear your stories.
Right.
I mean, listen, I was gonna go like read the Bible for 12 hours, but this works too.
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah,
just feed it to me, bro.
Yeah, just lay down the law, man.
Yeah, you're the authority on this. I'm not really.
Tell it like it is, friend.
Man, you really speak with authority. You just tell them the whole Bible.
Man, there's a little bit of earthquaking going on right now.
You've got a lot of confidence. You just walk into a town, you're like, "Hey, check me out," and I'm like, "Wow,
Listen about Moses."
Shalom.
Shalom, and how do you do? Good sir.
L'chaim, friend.
L'chaim and shalom, good buddy. But anyway, so apart from the greetings, he's talking about the story of Moses, and I didn't realize
that went on way too long.
It's been a long time since I've read the book of Exodus, and Peter mentions that like Moses, goes to visit, with his people or whatever, because he knows he's not actually an Egyptian, prince of Egypt. Get your facts straight, freaking.
Not a historically accurate movie.
Yeah, but it's the best movie of all time.
2 weeks in a row.
It's the best movie of all time.
2 weeks in a row is too many weeks in a row for a podcast.
Yeah, Jeff. Okay, let me. Oh my God, I need to actually get to my point before I forget it. He talks about how Moses, goes to be with his people some, to like visit them, sees this slave driver being a real douche, kills him. And then after that, Peter mentions that Moses thinks that like the Israelites are going to be like, "Yeah, thanks, dude, appreciate it." But the next time that he interacts with them, they're like, "Oh, are you going to kill me too? Like you killed that other guy?"
Right.
And then he leaves,
Let me be
which
honest.
is like something that I didn't realize happened, or maybe had forgotten
Let's
happened.
look at it this way. Let's say I'm at work, and Graham comes in and murders my boss. Next time I see Graham, I'm just going to be like, "Thanks, buddy."
Hey,
I'll be
I appreciate
like,
that.
"You murdered a guy."
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Yeah.
"I am Pharaoh. I am the sun and the stars."
I am the morning and evening star.
Right.
Leave me. But yeah, that makes the story kind of like a lot more human if you really think about it. Just because like that's what people do. Yeah, Moses is like, "Yeah, I'm pretty badass. I saved your brother over there," and they're like, "You killed a guy. Get out of here."
You didn't save someone. You murdered a guy and ran away like a baby.
Yeah.
Well, but if you think about it, it's like he has a family that he grows up with.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has this stark realization where it's like, "No, I don't belong here."
Yeah.
And then he's like haunted by this conflict.
By aliens.
And then he kills this slave driver and is like, "Oh, I'm going to be welcomed into my people now." And they're like, "Are you crazy?"
You think you murdered a guy and we're just going to let you into our homes?
And hid his body.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Well, I don't belong here. I don't belong here."
Yeah. Okay, guess I'm gonna go out into
Yeah.
exile and probably die.
Right.
But then he doesn't.
Yeah. Thanks, Jethro.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff Goldblum.
Look at your life through heaven's eyes. Oh man, super great. What an epic tale.
But yeah, Moses, Genesis and Exodus, probably my favorite books of the Bible. So
They're pretty sick.
they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Can we point out, before we move on, the underrated bit of the Moses story where he comes down from a mountain and they're worshiping a golden cow and he's like,
Bitch.
and I'm going to quote the Incredibles.
Yes,
We'll quote the Incredibles. I just cleaned up this mess. Can you keep it clean for 10 minutes? Like, Moses' whole life is being a maid, essentially, of like, and God's like, "Good job, Moses." And he's like, "All right, I'm going to talk to God." And everyone's like, "Oh, have fun." comes back, worshiping a golden cow. And he's like, okay, well, eat that.
Looks like I'm gonna have to make you eat metal.
And then
rocks.
they move on, and they're like, okay, I know God's giving us heavenly bread, and it's good and all, but what if he gave me a steak? And he's like, okay, I'm gonna put water out of a rock. And they're like, that's really cool, but
steak?
But what if I had something else?
Yeah, I just want something. Is there like a bigger menu I can look at?
Like, as much as the story, like the vicious cycle of the Israelites drives me insane.
Yeah,
it's sort of comforting in a way, because if you think about like the culture of like, you have this giant mass of people who lived in, like, even as they were leaving Egypt, they were like, maybe we should go back.
Yeah,
like, we had
Can you blame them though? Yeah,
we had food. Like, we've been there for hundreds of years. Like,
it's all I know.
Some murderer shows up and
makes
Moses is like the sky
red guy turns a snake into a stick and then kills a bunch of like babies.
Pack up.
And he's like, we're going, and Pharaoh's like, get the hell out of here!
You just killed my son. Leave.
So it's a different time because they're settled around Mount Sinai, and like they know where God is because he's just up. Like, they look at the top of Mount Sinai,
and God's like, hey God.
And it's like, there's God. Like, if we want to talk to God, we should go there. Yeah. And still they're like, I should build a calf out of gold and worship it.
Right.
I just like how when you read the story, it doesn't seem like, well, and Moses was gone for like 2 months. It's like, and Moses was gone for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And then suddenly he comes back down and he's like, oh my God!
Damn it!
There's a golden cat. What the hell is wrong with you?
Like 50 people just nervously looking around.
Like
it wasn't.
It was Aaron's idea.
Jeff Goldblum's idea.
Jeff Goldblum's like,
love, life, found a way.
Right, but
life
even
is a cow.
Life is a cow.
Even like later stories in the Old Testament that are similar. Like they have the tabernacle where it's like, if you want to talk to God, he's not on Mount Sinai.
He's in the middle of the camp.
He's in it's the center of camp. Like,
we built around it.
You have you know exactly where to go. It's in a tent.
Tabernacles
look
have
for
like
the tent.
a third of the size of a football field.
Right.
It's hard to miss.
It's a big tent. Just go, talk to. It's in
really
there.
ornate and beautiful looking. We made it that way.
It feels pretty godly.
I
think I want to do something else.
Should I sacrifice something to a pagan god? Yeah,
I want to do that. That feels right. That feels good to
I
me.
can do that from my front yard.
And so it's like,
I can do that from my front yard.
Seems a lot more
barbecue.
convenient.
walking all the way around the entrance of the turret. It's too far.
It's like half a mile.
If I just kill a pig in my front yard.
Bertha, bring me the cow.
Bring me a pig.
For what? And they might just be like, I'm gonna give it to God, or we can eat it for dinner.
Or
I don't care.
the god of the sky or something.
Yeah, it's like some god. I just have to kill it.
Someone made bread come from the sky. I'm good.
Yeah. And so, that being said, if these people who grew up in the most spiritual time ever, where it's like everyone believes in a god of some kind, sacrifice is daily and regular, like it's part of the routine, because it's like, I have transgressions that I have made to a higher power, and I need to sacrifice something to relieve those off of me. Then me today, where it's like there's a big chunk of the population that's atheist, like God is not as present. Like, you don't just go to a tent where
he's
it's
not
like,
very clearly on a mountain.
This is the God zone.
I don't walk to like
God
Mount
zone,
St.
right?
Helens and just look up and I'm like, oh, there he is.
Right.
And he's like,
hello,
I'm still a ghost.
How was your weekend?
Children.
Right.
I saw what you did last night.
You played Overwatch too late.
For too long and didn't do your homework.
That's God. So if
That is the
they
cow sound effect.
if they can mess up, then I don't feel as bad for messing up.
Oh yeah.
Like that's my mindset when I read that story. It's like, these people had every reason to not mess up. If they were like, where's God? I'm struggling. And everyone's like, dude, no, he's like right there.
Ah, dude.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
he's on a
that's
mountain right
He's
there.
All I have to do is, And they're like,
Dude, walk out the front door.
hey, where's
Look up.
I don't know. Like, where do I find time with God? And they're like, there's a tent. Like, there's a big giant
Just
tent.
go to there for like half an hour
Just
a day.
go to the tent. And they would worship for like hours at a time.
Yeah.
You ever, when you read the Bible, mostly just feel sorry for the guys like Moses who are just like...
who are in charge of this?
Who are in charge, and they're like, they seem to be relatively godly people, minus their usual big flaw that they've somewhat overcome, and they might still struggle. But then they're like in charge of this large group of people who are like, oh, God's up on the mountain and you can see him. And they're like, but I think I kind of want to sacrifice a cow to the world pig and like
To the world pig?
make it my dad.
Daddy pig.
Daddy pig cow.
But if I kill my firstborn, then that means I get good plants, right? Did God say that, or was it one of
And
the
they just
old
hear a
ones?
pig squeal somewhere in the neighbor's yard, and they're like, it was the world pig!
Right. It's like, I'm into that now.
And they're like, son, come out front.
Dad, I love you.
Yeah, the one
What?
the one I feel bad the most about is Nehemiah, because Nehemiah had to do... If you don't know the story of Nehemiah, basically Israel was exiled, and finally the king of Persia, I think, was finally like, yeah, go home. Like, we don't really want
Thanks,
to...
man.
Like, you're free to do what you want. And so all these Israelites, like, wander home after hundreds of years and are like, how do we be Jewish?
How be Jewish?
Right. And so Nehemiah's like, all right, we're starting on day one. And
Jewish
so it's
school.
like, let's read the Bible. And so they have like these gigantic worship services where it's like hours upon hours of reading the Bible. And so he like gets everything set up. He's like, you people are in charge of this. You people are in charge of this. We're building this temple. It's going to be great. We have walls now. Like, this is really becoming like the center that it used to be. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to take off. Don't mess up. And he's gone for like a month. And all of the elders are like selling the wine from the sacramental wine and like letting people get wasted off of it. And like collecting money and taking money from that's like given as tithe and spending it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so he comes back and he's like, come on guys, like, this is so hard.
5 minutes.
This is so hard to do. Like, I had to teach a bunch of Jews how to be Jewish. And then you guys are like, who cares? Like,
I know we just
want
graduated, but what if...
Pieces of money coins. Here.
Yeah.
Eat
Yeah.
this.
Poor Nehemiah. Rip.
Yeah.
The Old Testament feels like a...
It's real butt
You ever read
blast.
it? You ever read a book series and you feel like almost every book has the same message?
Yeah, kind of.
That's a little bit how some of the Old Testament feels.
It's just a bunch of people trying to figure out how to be not terrible.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what life is.
Yeah.
Only-
That's absolutely
That's
right.
why I like the Old Testament kind of more than the New Testament, because it's a lot of like people living normal lives.
Yeah,
and
worshiping
screwing up
cows
in
and-
the worst way.
Yeah.
And God's like, listen, we had some slip-ups, but come on back. And they're like, okay, God, we're sorry, we won't do it again. And then God's like, all right, I'll hold you to it. And then they're like, we did it again.
And they're like, sorry, this time it's the world. Now?
Hey, God, bail us out again. And he's like, all right, fine. Well,
I'm going to kill a few of you, but okay.
I'm gonna make all the old ones die off in the desert, but the youngins can come into the promised land.
And they're like, okay, well,
I
we
can't say
won't
it's
do it
not
again,
fair.
I promise. And then he's like, all right, hold you to it. And they're like, we won't, promise. And then it's like 10 minutes later, and they're like, oh, God.
And then God goes to get a glass of milk from the fridge, and comes
sweaty.
back, and
He comes back,
all
and
the
they-
Israelites
they,
are
like-
sweating loudly, and he's like, what's buried in the big hole, guys? And they're like,
Nothing. You didn't see nothing. And he's like, no, I see everything.
And they're like,
Dang, that's right.
I thought you went to go to the fridge for a glass of milk.
he's like, well, I did, but I'm omniscient, so.
How much time do we have?
Time to wrap it up.
All right.
thank you for listening to the PDT podcast.
Yeah, thank you. This has been a fun one.
This has been a real fun one. We didn't really talk about what we thought we would talk about, but that's okay.
Talked exactly what we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
and then we just
both exactly
talked
not
the
at all.
Old Testament Israelites for 30 minutes.
It was on schedule for the first half, and then we went to the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I enjoyed talking.
And there's quite a bit of censoring that we have to do.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, maybe.
So, unless you just don't want to.
No, we're gonna censor it.
We're gonna try our best to.
No, we're gonna censor it.
Bible
just saying,
Man
in the
from
future-
1990 told me to.
in the future, we're trying to not have as much salty language, so that this is a little bit more family friendly. But it is time for the question of the week /
From
last week. If you have a question, or if you want to answer one of the questions from this week or last week or a previous episode, leave it in the comments or email us or at pdtpodcast@gmail.com.
Hit them boys up on Twitter.
Or tweet at us. We have a Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. It's at PDT Podcast.
You can see all of our tweets at the Pope and Tim Allen and a growing number of celebrities.
We're just, throwing our feelers out.
Yeah.
Eventually something will hit.
Eventually one of them likes us.
Our feelers.
You best believe that the show's going to take off.
The train's going to leave the station.
So if you have a question or an answer, or if you have a topic you want us to talk about, tweet at us, email us. We want to talk about what you want to hear us talk about. So, with that being said, it is time for the question from last week, which was, what song or video game or movie or video makes you happy? What do you listen / play / watch to go to that happy place?
You want to be in the happy place.
And I said that Lobster Kid video, which is great.
Wow.
But there's also...
Wow.
Lobster.
Wow.
It's pretty good. But also, look at all those chickens is pretty good.
Yeah, that's the one that I settled on. But I really still, I don't have a thing that I go to make me happy.
Try and find videos of dogs failing to catch food in their mouths.
That's a great, I enjoy that.
How about you?
I genuinely don't know. I gave this question a lot of thought this week, but I just didn't land on anything.
That's fair.
So yeah, if
Which
you
says a lot about me than it does the question.
I mean, this is like if I really need to be not in the dumpers, then I listen or I watch one of those videos.
I'm in school, so it's a lot of dumpers.
Well, GG. If you have an answer to that, leave it in the comments, tweet at us, email us. Now, the question for next week is somewhat relevant because it is what movie would you launch into space? So launch into space with the idea that an alien will find it and watch it. What movie do you want an alien's first impression to be? It's not just like, this is a movie that I hate, so I'm launching it into the void of space.
So originally, when you posed this question, I was going to say, maybe we should not answer the question of the week until next week, so there's a little bit of suspense, but I came up with a great answer just in these 2 seconds, and I want to answer it. So I'm going to go against what I was going to say initially, and say Mars Attacks. So that they'll probably attack us.
This is... Have you ever... No, I'm not going to talk about that. That feels very offensive.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying. I just think it'd be funny to troll all those aliens out there.
Is that what they think we're like?
Or they'll get it and think that aliens have already made their way to Earth and we kicked their ass.
Yeah, or that.
These aliens suck. We're way
Man,
better.
those aliens are idiots. What, sound kills them?
Yeah. Dummies.
Idiots.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 different answers, but neither of them good. The first one was into Scott Pilgrim.
Nice.
Versus
I
the
love
World.
that movie.
Good movie for them to think that that the Earth is just like that.
Right, yeah, like a video game.
And the other one I want to send out to Space Jam so they understand that Michael Jordan kicked the ass of some aliens earlier. You guys have to censor that, but
Michael
I don't
Jordan
care.
is our national hero. Is our global hero because he
our
defended
global gambling.
You're
hero.
forgetting about Bill Murray.
Bill.
Yeah,
Murray.
the true star of Space Jam.
He made that one pass.
Bill Murray.
Also the Looney Tunes.
Milbury.
Or something
how about
like
Lola,
Muppets
am I
Take
right?
New York.
Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah.
I am a little conflicted because part of me wants to send like. I thought about
Da Vinci Code.
I thought about a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
But then I thought about Godzilla.
Oh, sick! They're like,
Right.
we don't want to touch that.
Yeah, it's like no way.
yeah.
They have
Deal with that on a regular basis. They seemed mildly prepared.
That's awesome.
Oh, holy crap! I want to go see that thing.
Yeah.
I also love in this discussion that. Hey, go ahead first.
The Lego Ninjago movies.
It's just a Ninjago commercial. They're like, oh, wonder if I can go to my local Toys R Us and pick up some of those Toys R Us sets. I mean, Lego sets.
Space Toys R Us.
Yeah, Space Toys R Us. My favorite store.
Hey Johnny, you want to go into the local Space Toys R Us and pick up some Lego
Pick up some-
Ninjago sets?
Can we
I saw some movie about that.
Can we
Earth.
stop at Space Best Buy?
Space Best Buy. Oh my god, you guys still have Space Best Buys over here?
No,
That's
it's
amazing.
a Space Circus City.
Oh, Space Circuit City. Oh, I was thinking of Space Blockbuster.
Space. Space.
They're in trouble because of Space Netflix. Also Space Redbox.
They gotta find.
Space Buster.
They're working on some new space business model because Space Netflix is making their space business model out of.
Space Netflix. Oh, that's
Netflix.
horrendous.
I love in this conversation that like aliens don't have any concept of like
Fiction.
creative fiction. Yeah, it's just like, oh my god.
Well, when I jettison this up to space, I'm not going to leave it in the regular box. I'm going to make it look like it's a historical event,
documentary.
like History Channel.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? I don't speak the language or read this, so this is just a
Part of
video."
Part of me
It
would
seems
love.
very official.
Part of me would love if it was like an old-fashioned VHS that had like previews before it.
The old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah, like-
movies.
What is happening?
What are all these interesting worlds?
Right.
One of them seems to
Okay.
be two-dimensional.
My last answer: the old,
And why are these dogs talking?
either the entire like Lord of the Rings Hobbit series, and those
They've
big box
advanced a
sets, or those really bad Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies.
Oh.
The old ones, not the new ones.
gonna say.
Actually, both. Let's
Yeah,
just throw
okay,
them all
both.
together and just show them out. And
They're
they're just like, they got really.
what adorable, amazing creatures. And then they watch the new ones and they're just like,
Oh gosh!
Men in suits. That's odd. The real ones must have taken offense and attacked.
and attacked them. Oh, we could send the Men in Black.
That way they don't stay the
You mean the
hell away.
greatest movie of all time?
Yeah, the greatest movie of all time, Men in Black, or Men in Black 2.
I think
Or 3.
the other option would be the Jurassic Park series,
Jurassic Bark.
and not.
I hope that they have that exact park on their planet, and they're like, they think dinosaurs were going to be stopped by that? They're dumb.
I
It's
would
like,
love.
oh, they have that too.
I would love if they have like a Jurassic Park, but it's all human animals. Like they're normally inhabited by dinosaurs and all these prehistoric animals, but then their Jurassic Park is like, we found DNA from all these extinct species, and we've done this like hodgepodge of DNA to create this
terrible
animal,
monster.
and it's just
Bad.
like a dog.
Here's a
domesticated dog.
It's like a bulldog. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's this weird slobbery animal.
And then in the movie, the bulldog breaks out and chases people around. When it catches them, it gives them little kisses.
Like
but,
doggy kisses.
But doggy
But the
kisses
aliens
kill
melt.
the alien.
Yeah, they melt.
Yeah.
And they see our dinosaurs, and they're like, why don't they just, like, fly away? And,
Right.
we're like, can't do that. But dogs love us.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
in like the
terrifying
opening
moment.
scenes or something, there's got to be some dog in
Like, there's a video of like someone lifting a dog and it licks their face, and the aliens
just
are
like,
like, "Oh my gosh, he's fine!
what sort of
How did they survive this?"
sick
And they
people
laugh.
is this?
Yeah,
It'd be like showing us a video of someone getting shot in the face and not being affected, and we'd all be
Right.
like, that's kind of scary. And then they
Yeah,
see a
like-
dog lick. It's just, oh, you're so cute.
I love it.
right.
It's like, oh, this is my pet gun.
Mom, can we take it home?
They keep dogs in their house.
They feed them?
Right.
All right, we have gone over, but that's okay. We'll cut out a little bit. Thank you for listening, everybody. This has been a fun episode. We hope you have had a good
Thanks
time.
for listening. Tune in next week. We've been trying to drop these on. Well, I say we. Andrew's been trying to put these up on Tuesday. Andrew runs the YouTube channel. Does way more than pretty much anyone else in this room. So praise him, praise his video edits, and praise him for keeping the YouTube channel running. Thanks for listening. Praise to the PDT podcast. Amen.
Amen.